They knew it. The VA knew that enormous new hospital couldn't be built on budget, yet they kept building, kept spending. That's what the VA's own Inspector General announced today. The investigative report might as well be titled, How Not to Build a Hospital. Bad design, bad planning, bad handling of the contract and design changes. It was a blueprint for bungling a project and doubling its cost to $1.6 billion. Now the question becomes, was it a crime?
And today's government report is silent on that. It makes no mention of a criminal investigation. Short time ago, I got off the phone with Republican Mike Coffman of Aurora, the congressman who specifically asked for that criminal referral for the VA hospital debacle.
$1 billion was wasted. $1 billion of taxpayers' money was wasted. I just don't know how we move forward. I mean, how this organization moves forward. An organization that I believe is, mired in bureaucratic incompetence and corruption. Without holding people accountable. I think it sets a bad precedent.
Our politics guy, Brandon Ritterman's been covering this story for years. So now, Brandon, criminality aside, the incompetence on the part of the VA is acknowledged here, and it's really laid bare in this report.
It's laid bare. It's not just incompetence, it's also stubbornness in this report. They basically ordered a way too fancy hospital for the money they had to spend on one, and they didn't want to back down from that plan. It talked about people being defensive inside the VA. And if you look at the hospital, you can see some of the reasons why this thing got so expensive. The design isn't simple. It's multiple buildings. They've got curved walls. And this report basically says, they could have built something with nice square walls that was a simple building, easy for patients to get around in, yes, but also much, much cheaper to build. A lot of these decisions were made, though, on aesthetics. They wanted good mountain views. For example, the report details they moved a parking structure underground simply to preserve mountain views. It costs 5 times as much to put a parking space underground as it does above ground.
I love a mountain view from my office, too. Don't have it. As Congressman Coffman criticized the VA, then he has his own critics that say, well, Congressman Coffman, you had this oversight role in Congress. You should have helped avoid the disaster. He told me today, they lied to me. The VA lied to me. That's where we start to talk about a crime.
And the chairman of the VA committee in the House is calling for DOJ to investigate. There's a page in here that very well states out the construction chief, Glenn Hagstrom, going before Congress and saying that their projects were within the amount that Congress gave them. And then it details in the 5 months before that, several instances in which he himself expressed that no, in fact, this wasn't going to come in on budget. And in one instance saying that another senior VA official shouldn't spread the information any further, and as a result, the report says Congress didn't have the information it needed to make decisions.
That was the most damning line. Brandon, thank you.
Thank you.
So while we're on the subject of the American people getting hosed, Wells Fargo's fine for foisting fake accounts on unsuspecting customers is $185 million. Sounds like a big number, but a number of Next viewers pointed out it's actually kind of a joke.
Wells Fargo is too big to fail. Apparently, it is also too big to fine, at least in any meaningful way. $185 million is a whopping 0.5% of Wells Fargo's annual profit, which Morningstar pegged at $36 billion. Consider it this way. The median household income in Colorado is $61,000 a year. Not the same as profit, you still have to pay your bills, but close enough. Wells Fargo's fine is the equivalent of a Colorado family being fined $300. Yeah, that'll teach you a lesson. Now, of course, the real impact is in Wells Fargo's stock price. But a fine that small, it almost seems like an insult to customers. Wells Fargo's fine is a bit more than the compensation collected by the CEO while all this was going on. The same CEO who came before Congress, apologized, and pledged to take responsibility. Not take responsibility as in use any of his $155 million in compensation to pay the fine. No. He pledged to take responsibility in the way you pledge to take responsibility when you have no intention of actually taking any responsibility.
Donald Trump has apparently figured out that he's going to need to win Colorado to win the White House, because there is no other reason that a state like ours with a relatively small number of electoral votes would be getting the kind of concentrated attention we're seeing this week. Ivanka Trump's in town tonight and tomorrow. Trump's running mate, Governor Mike Pence, is holding a town hall in Colorado Springs tomorrow. And Donald Trump Jr. is on the Western Slope speaking in Grand Junction. Clinton campaign is crickets on its next planned visit to Colorado. Denver's main courthouse had a line out the door this morning. Wasn't so much an extra demand for justice these days. It was that the beautiful glass building had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction. Here's Steve Staker.
I've been in line for 2 hours.
The wheels of justice are known to grind slowly.
This line this morning was clear around to Colfax.
They grind even slower when you can't get into the courthouse.
It's been a long wait.
People aren't appreciating standing in line. If they can't get it right, they should have just sent us all home.
So what happened? No one really knows. I heard someone on the outside call it the Glass Palace. If you've ever been inside, you know what they mean. The whole front wall is a window, and the main staircase is surrounded by a glass barrier. Somehow, overnight, one of those panels on the staircase fell to the floor and shattered. The staircase didn't have a side to it anymore, so obviously people couldn't use it. And all that shattered glass was around the main entrance. That means anyone who had to be in court had to use a different entrance. People like Roy Chase, who was here on a traffic assault charge.
I got out and pushed the guy after he ran into my car.
They don't like it when you do that. But Roy had a good argument.
He was the aggressor on the whole issue. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be on TV telling everybody that.
It's never fun to go to court. Even worse when you have to wait. But
at least I got mine dismissed. So I'm okay with that. It was worth my 2 hours.
For next, I'm Steve Staker.
You meet interesting people at the courthouse. Each individual judge decided what would happen with defendants in his or her courtroom, and it sounds like most of them were understanding. We still are waiting to hear back from the city of Denver on whether they think this whole glass smashing thing is likely to happen again. You Next viewers continue to impress us with your honesty. Last night here we told you about the stack of cash found in Highlands Ranch at the town center. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office is looking for the owner, who's going to have to identify the exact amount in order to get the money back. They tend to get a lot of crank calls when these lost money stories go public, but Next viewers, you are a classy lot. DougCo deputies only got 15 calls, and they say that all but one of them were entirely sincere, though they still haven't found the rightful owner of the money. A pizza chain found some money. Blackjack Pizza is working on a $2.6 million order. The call came in from Denver Public Schools.
DPS signed an agreement with Blackjack that budgets $886,730 per year to deliver pizza to schools. Provided that pizza meets expectations, a 2-year extension of the deal would be worth $2.6 million over 3 years. Journalists tend to be bad at math, but really good at pizza, so we'll take a stab at this. An extra large pepperoni pizza is $14.99, and $886,730 divided by $14.99 in pizzas is 59,154 pies. But if DPS is truly paying full price for that many pizzas, that would be a scandal of immense proportion. Call it Pizzagate. I'd be happy to investigate. Anyway, district wasn't immediately able to tell us how many pizzas it's getting for taxpayers' $2.6 million. Fair to suppose that it is a lot more than 59,000, since we know how much kids like pizza, and we know the DPS does have 91,000 mouths to feed.
You'll be hearing newscasts warning of a Chinese spacecraft falling from the sky. Chicken Little stuff, but don't worry about it. Here's the real deal. There is a Chinese space station that's expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere mid to late 2017. It is not going to kill us all, even if that makes for a really sexy news tease. Tiangong-1 is an 8-ton space lab that was used between 2011 and 2013. Its engines don't work. It's done. It's basically just circling the drain. But we are the drain. Most of it should burn up on its way down to Earth. We spoke with an astronomer who says there's really only about a 1 in 1,000 chance that any small part of this thing will come down in a populated area.
The phrase out of control has been used, which is sort of technically true, but, it gives a kind of scariness to it that isn't really deserved. So to have something this large re-enter on its own is really unusual these days. It's not something where you're going to sort of panic and go, oh, evacuate the city. There's going to be, widespread destruction or something. It's the worry of just, some small thing falling from the sky.
The lab is currently in orbit between 43 degrees north and south, and we checked, and Denver actually is within that orbit. So I don't know, Cody, you think we should panic? No panic? No panic. Now, we're still not going to panic. Astronomers think it's most likely going to land in the ocean or some uninhabited area. Don't sweat it. Next question. What can pet owners do to direct firefighters to save pets inside a home during an emergency? Kristen Moore emailed us that question last night. That was thoughtful. We called a few fire departments around the metro area. We got a few different ideas. There are stickers that you can post outside your home to tell firefighters how many animals are inside. But West Metro Fire says there's a better solution. You can submit information on this website, smart911.com. You can give information about your kids, your pets, medications, anything important that's inside the home. Dispatchers can see that info and they can relay it to emergency responders on their way to your home. So boom, there you go. Question answered, Kristen. Keep the questions coming. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext.
It's a little overwhelming at times, you know.
Getting loud, for good reason, at one of Denver's quietest spots. Bars come and go. This one came and stayed, until now. And stereotypical Coloradans, heads up. We have a lost and found item that might belong to you. Next.
Here we are, the final day of the summer season. Is it just me or did it just fly right on by? I've been asking you guys to share your favorite memory on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know how to get a hold of me, and some of you already sharing some really awesome photos as well as kind of what you've been up to. Megan Hinderberger says the great sand dunes with that picture of her two girls, Matthew Martinez, hiking to the top of Mount Elbert. Impressive, my friend. Tonight we've been watching just a couple of raindrops cruise through the metro area, the heaviest showers across south central Colorado. I think really this evening we'll just be watching the cloudy skies sitting over the city. About 56, so still another mild evening. Overnight, we start to see some skies clear just to the south of us, and tomorrow morning, a little bit of patchy morning fog along I-76. A mix of the sun and clouds throughout the day, and maybe one or two isolated little showers through the metro area. Tomorrow, though, still a nice warm one as we welcome the fall season. 84, not too shabby at all. A huge cool off, though, coming just in time for the weekend as temperatures cool off to the 60s. It'll finally feel like fall with a few rain showers as well.
Thank you, Danielle. The silence is striking at Fort Logan National Cemetery, at least on most days. Not today. We see why through the lens of photojournalist Ann Herbst.
It really gives you an idea that a lot of people have done a lot of things for this country. And
Fort Logan National Cemetery
It's a little overwhelming.
is a place for quiet reflection.
stand clear.
But today, Patrick O'Mara
Stand clear.
is making a lot of noise
Thank you.
for a good cause.
You make your best cuts. You make sure you're doing this all for the right reason.
Patrick and about 80 other tree care specialists from all over the area are trimming, sawing, making everything safer for those who visit Fort Logan.
Hey, we've got some dead branches up there. We'd like to make sure those aren't falling on anyone.
Each volunteer has a different reason for pitching in.
We're just looking at all these gravestones. It hits close to home.
My uncle Marvin Martin was killed in Vietnam in 1968.
My father and my grandfather are buried here.
My middle name is Marvin. Something that I wasn't happy with in elementary school because kids would rib you for it. But once I grew older, you certainly understand the reverence of it.
It's pretty special to come back here and be a part of this today.
This event, called Saluting Branches, is taking place today at 35 other veteran cemeteries across the country.
You don't necessarily know how to give back, and we are good at doing this, and so we're giving back the way we can.
And even though Patrick
I'm going to cut above you, stand clear,
and the rest of the crews are momentarily disturbing the peace of this place, it's just their way of saying a very loud thanks.
And I hope that they can look over and see what we're doing and know that we're doing this for them.
For Next, this is Ann Herbst.
Saluting Branches estimates that more than $1 million worth of tree services were donated at 36 different cemeteries today.
The state tells us where to stick it. If we tell them to shove it, what kind of trouble awaits? And the last call at a legendary bar brought back a patron from beyond the grave.
Very loud, very profane, and drank a lot.
Cheers to memories and the places where we make them. Next.
The most stereotypical set of car keys in all of Colorado was lost and found. In fact, the most Colorado thing we saw today was the very earnest attempt to return some keys that could belong to a couple million people in Colorado. They're Subaru keys. The dude who found them posted a photo on Facebook saying the driver's clearly a fan of fish. Note the fish keychain, King Supers, note the value card, and Denver Parks and Rec. So if you're an outdoorsy kind of funky money-saving Coloradan who drives a reliable vehicle, you may have dropped your car keys outside Argonaut. Finder turned them into the King Supers nearby, thinking the value card might be the best way to ID the owner. It's a sign, and if you ignore it, you could end up on the wrong side of a snake. The sign's up on Green Mountain. Snakes reminding hikers, if you're off the designated trail, we're telling the rangers, thanks, the snakes. Stay on the trail, my friend. Stay off the news. Our next question comes from a very passionate next viewer named Chelsea.
Is there a punishment for stupidity? And I guess I can be more specific. Are there any consequences for people who place their registration stickers incorrectly on their license plate? I'm just like, why? How can you do that?
Chelsea is done with you fools sticking your registration stickers anywhere you please on your license plate. Methinks Chelsea is the kind of person who keeps a real clean house and organizes her shirts by color in the closet. I do it too, Chelsea. It's cool. But drivers, come on now. Do it by the book. That is not the book. That is also not legit. You just stuck it on the ridge line there. Month goes on the bottom left. Year goes on the bottom right. They do give you a little card that explains it when they send you the sticker. And it actually is a violation to just put the sticker wherever you want on the plate. Colorado State Patrol told us it's not a common ticket. It is a $15 violation, and it's most often issued when somebody gets pulled over for something else and perhaps gets a little mouthy with the trooper. The bar and restaurant business can be grueling. Long hours, demanding customers. In a city like Denver, you see a lot of new restaurants and bars open. A lot of restaurants and bars close. In the Bonnie Bray neighborhood, the Campus Lounge has managed to stay in business for 40 years, until now.
It is truly a place where everyone knows your name. It's an institution.
This is my first time here.
Is it? My name's Jim Wisty, and I'm the owner of the Campus Lounge. I've had it for a little over 40 years.
Jim owned it, and now it's not going to be here anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
Business, they have a lot of history.
We had the hockey teams come by, like the Boston Bruins or Blackhawks. A lot of guys remember Don Cherry. He did a lot of his shows from here. If you came in the bar, you wouldn't know who had the Mercedes outside and who drove the motorcycle.
If someone needs help, they'll call. I don't mind helping out once in a while.
This is a family business. It's everybody's business.
It is a family.
Well, I just came over here to have a last drink here with my friend who used to drink in here a lot with me. Very loud, very profane, and drank a lot.
I kind of like to go out on my terms and travel while I still can.
46
Salute.
years.
Dziękuję.
But I'm here, and that is a great before
That
you
is.
close,
No,
right?
I'm glad you are.
So,
It is a family.
A lot of people have walked out that door with a story or two. Campus Lounge will close on Sunday, reopen later this year under some new ownership. We check back in on next biggest small fan. Next. Time now for your feedback, good, bad, and otherwise. Molly Minahan writes, take this off the air. It is boring, and so is the host. Go back to the regular news. Sorry, Molly, can't stop, won't stop. Glenn Stark writes, you talked up your viewers saying only 15 people called regarding the found cash, or you could say 50% of your viewers. That's a sick burn, Glenn. All right, let's balance this out with somebody who actually likes the show. His name is Lex, and his mom says he likes us almost as much as he likes Elmo.
Kyle! He's fumbling with the blow-up life preserver. Kyle! Big dumb animal, isn't he, folks? First dance against 69 suggests.
I can hear you, Lex. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends to watch too, so we see everybody next time.